Okay, so today we're starting 5.7, intelligence testing. The objective for today is to explain how psychologists design tests, including standardization strategies and other techniques to establish reliability and validity. So we're looking at essentially intelligence tests. How are they standardized, and how does it help us understand, are they reliable and are they valid? Okay, so how did intelligence testing begin? Well, it began with Alfred Binet. He was a French, and really what he wanted to know was the mental age of his students. He wanted to be able to determine what is the actual performance level for a set age. So, example, at what level should a 7-year-old be performing at? Louis Terman took that one step further and developed the Stanford Binet, which is known as the American IQ test. And how you figure out the American IQ is you take somebody's mental age divide it by the chronological age, and then multiply that by 100. And then you get somebody's IQ scores. Now, there was a huge concern over the abuses of these IQ scores, and for a legitimate reason. They did use the IQ scores to evaluate new immigrants. And this is what led to discrimination of Northern and Western Europeans when they were migrating to America. Continuing on with the IQ, there is more of a modern test for mental abilities. You guys have taken multiple achievement and aptitude tests. So achievement tests are the tests that you take in class, right? The idea being to show what you have learned or what have you achieved so far in class. Aptitude tests are used to predict behavior. So these are going to be things like your SAT, your GRE. Those are predicting, trying to show somebody how well you could potentially do in their institution. And then there's the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale. And this is an intelligence test for school-age children. And so this is what is more common now. For an IQ test. These are some of the things, if you look to the right, some of the things that they may look at when testing for IQ. Okay, so these are some important key terms that you're going to need to know about testing. Standardization is comparing the scores. So if you are to compare scores of like people or people who are similar, will you get similar results? Sorry, team. Okay. A normal curve is, we're talking about our bell curve again. I'm going to show you an image in a minute that does not look like a normal curve. I'm sorry, but it should. If I was an artist, that would be a normal curve. And most students are going to fall right here in the center of the curve. You are going to have outliers on either side, but the majority of you are going to fall right there in the center. Reliability, if you take the test over again, how reliable is it that you're going to get a similar score? Validity, does it predict what it promises to predict? So, for example, does the SAT actually predict how well you will do in college? And then content validity, does it measure what it should measure as far as the content or the topic is concerned? And then predictive validity is, does it predict future performance? So this is more about the content. This is more about the performance aspect of it. So can the SAT predict how hard you're going to work or how long you're going to study? The major concern with these is the bias. And this is where the test shows differences in performance caused by cultural experiences. And you're actually going to read an article about that for your assignment for 5.7 on exactly cultural bias. Now, one thing we have noticed over the past 60 years is that slowly but surely, people's intelligence has been increasing, and this is known as what we call the Flynn Effect. So the Flynn Effect is an increase in IQ scores. Now, this could be just because we have better nutrition, better food, people can have better brain development. Is there something to be said with maybe the way the tests are being conducted? So there's a lot of different factors that we may look into, and we don't really know one over the other. Again, it's probably has a lot to do with the fact that we are just able to live healthier and longer lives now. The dynamics of intelligence testing. So do we fall under stability or change when it comes to IQ? Do we stay the same or does it change as we age? Well, we know a couple of things. First of all, your IQ will level out at age 7. So at age 7, you start to see a consistent, steady increase. And that's when we find that people's IQs really become more stable. Another interesting fact that they had found is that for an aptitude test, now remember, this is predicting how well you're going to do. For an aptitude test, there is a strong stability correlation. Meaning, as you age, so the older you get, our IQ score essentially stays the same. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't learn anything new. You learn lots of new information. It just means that your IQ, your intelligence processing, has stabled and leveled out. Now, there are two extremes of intelligence. Like I said at the beginning, most of you are going to fall within this range of intelligence. Intelligence does make up a normal bell curve. Most of you are going to fall within one standard deviation of the mean. If that's the mean, you're going to fall within one standard deviation one way or another. Now, there are a select few who do very, very well, who are going to score in the top 2%, and they are considered high intelligence. And then there's the bottom 2%, and this category tends to suffer from some type of intellectual disability, or they suffer from Down syndrome. Now, something to be aware of, though, with these extremes of intelligence and how you label students or children, is there are critics because of what we call the self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you think I'm ungifted, I may act ungifted, or I may end up ungifted. Okay, and that's it for today.